Welcome back to DUBBZI Bricks for another episode of building the Tantive in Lego. In the last update, I worked on this section just here. We got the escape pod hatches all in place there and started building the paneling up. And this is the area where I'm going to be continuing to work today. I want to get all of the details sorted out on the inside of here. Try and get a little bit more of this tiled off if I can, but also work on the shape of the top section just there. Now, with this part here, the more I look at it, the more I realise it's coming out this way just that little bit too much. So I'm going to try and push that back if I can. It may mean removing a few parts off of the top here, but I'm not going to completely rebuild it. There's a way that I can get bricks inside of it just to step it back that little bit, so when it comes to adding all the greebling on here, I can get that looking how I need it to. Now, in the last update, I also mentioned that I want to build all of these panels in white plates. They are going to be tiled over. However, I want to have it so that if you can see through between any tiles, or if there's like a grill piece, then you're not seeing a multicolored brick or plate. You're just seeing the color that I want it to be. So I'm decided that light bluish gray will do the job perfectly, or dark bluish gray even, as I don't mind seeing those through gaps and holes. So we will be able to get a lot more of this done without having to order parts in. Somebody in the last video also commented about the look of this section just here. There are several pieces where I am going to be putting greebling over the top of it, or covering it over that little bit, just to make it look that much better. But at the end of the day, if you got to see Technic beam and some Technic pins, I don't mind. As in all fairness, if you look at the fuselage of a plane, the framework on there, chances are it would be something similar to a Technic brick. So yeah, I'm not too bothered about that. But where I can cover things up, like down here, there are going to be greebling parts over it if I can get away with doing so. Anyway, that's enough talking. Let's get the bricks and plates out and let's get started. And here we have the panels all ripped back off of the ship, and what we're going to be doing is removing these uprights just here, and the Technic uprights and the Technic lift arms behind. I'm then going to build a slot brick wall along the back there, back on the back of where that grey brick is, and then I'm going to plate over the top of it. That's going to give me something to build the greebling onto. I can also attach greebling onto this Technic bar just here, and the one at the bottom as well. So it's going to be a little bit fiddly just getting all that done, but it's going to give me the space that I now need to get it looking exactly how I want. Now, I can't move this entire structure back because it's on Technic beams here, and it means I would have to completely rebuild that section, which I'm not doing. Under no circumstances am I doing that. So yeah, we're just going to carefully dismantle the parts we need to on here, get it all amended, and then we'll be able to add the details that we want to. And that's the side all sorted, so I can now add the details deeper into here, which was what I was after. On the Technic beams here, I will just put some half Technic pins and then plate over the top of it, and then that will enable me to put more details, more greebling on that section as well. Now, I want to have a good look at the images, as I believe there's supposed to be a red stripe that goes along the edge here. So I'll put a red tile along the top, then put one row of plates, 1x1 plates along the edge of it. So this is going to step out by one stud more. And then what I'll do is I'll put another row of plates underneath it, clipping it all together. So this will actually be the equivalent of one brick thick at the end. So let's start working on getting that edge there all sorted, get the greebling started, and then see how it comes out. And there we have the red line along the edge of the side here, and I've used a couple of bits of reddish brown on here, as I've done on the cockpit area, just to give it that weathered effect. And then we've got all this greebling along the side here. Really happy with how it's come out. It has taken hours just to get this little bit done here, but it's such an enjoyable thing doing the greebling, just finding just random pieces out of your collection and just putting them anywhere, and yeah, come up with this sort of effect. I do need to do a bit on here, however, there's certain parts I need it to taper in. So I'm going to have a bit of a sort through my pieces before I do that part. And next up, we're going to be turning our attention to the top of the ship here. And first of all, I'm going to make an amendment to Leia's stateroom here, just get the basic shape of it correct and how I want it to be. As you can see from this image here, this is from the cross-section book. It gives you a good idea of what it could look like. So I'm going to go for that as the style. Now, the good thing is with me doing it that way, this section at the back here is currently 2 bricks thick to get this effect. Whereas I can now go for 1 brick thick, which is going to enable me to make it that 1 stud wider. So hopefully we'll be able to make that look that a little bit better. And I will have it so there are 2 rooms here for her, so I'll probably come this way a little bit. And then this is the room where we're going to have the hot tub in, just that little Easter egg from the Lego Star Wars games. And here we have the start of the Leia stateroom, and I've put these slopes on the side here, and that's so I can rest the panels up to them. And I know I've got exactly the same angle on both sides. I'm going to be using the cross-section book for my inspiration. So over in this corner here, we're going to have a corner sofa, and there'll be the table in the middle. As you can see in this image here, it is a reverse of what you can see in there, so it's going the opposite direction. In here, we're going to have a desk on the side and a computer monitor and then some other details on here. So it's not exactly the same, but as I said, it's just using that as inspiration. And we will go for a blue floor here. Not sure which shade of blue I'm going to use just yet, but I've got to see what tiles I've got available and also which ones look the best. But let's go through our parts and just see what pieces I have got to see what details I can add to the stateroom. And here we have some furniture in Leia's stateroom. I'm not liking the floor colour on here. The blue, for me, it's way too bright, and I just don't think that it looks right for the vessel here. So I think I'm going to change that over, but I'm not sure what colour to change it over to. So I was considering the sand blue. I think that may look quite good. However, I do that, I would have to change the colour of the table, which isn't any... it's not a big deal. I could go to a white table. I think that might look quite good. I think in the image it looks more white anyway, or even possibly tan. Or the other option I thought of was dark blue. So yeah, it's just trying to work out what's going to be the best option for that. So please pop in the comments what you think would look best. The current blue, sand blue, or the dark blue. But now I'm not going to go any further with this part of the build for the time being. What I want to do now is turn my attention back to the skin here and try and get this all tiled off and get as much detail on this as possible. And there we have the side panel all tiled off and some greebling added on the top as well. I'm really pleased with how it's coming along. I'm trying to add the odd different colour tile here and there just to give it that weathered effect. And then like on the red line here, using the reddish brown once again, same as on the cockpit section, it just gives that weathered look. So really pleased with how that comes out. I think these two colours go so well together. Now these parts here, I wanted to get the tiles at an angle, as on one of the pictures I looked at, you had two squares like this. So one of these is on a 1x1 stud and the other is on a jumper plate, and they are actually touching. They're perfectly up together. So that's worked out really well. So really pleased that that's come out as it has. Now on this side up here, there should be some pipe work. However, I haven't got the parts I need to do that. So I will be adding those a little bit later on. But that's easily enough to just peel a couple of tiles off up there. Now, one thing I do need to work out is how I'm going to go about the panel that's going to be going on this section just here. It's going to have the two large domes on the top of it, and I'm a little bit concerned about the weight of them. Because I'm going to have the removable wall here, the removable wall is going to have these parts here, and they come out quite a bit. And at the moment, that there would be hitting this part just here. So I can't go for a removable panel with this sort of thickness. So I need to make it thinner, but I need it to be strong enough so it doesn't start dipping down due to the weight. So what I might have to do is on the bottom of the panel actually have a support beam which goes down and rests on here to keep it all there. It may turn out that it's just strong enough as it is. But one other thing I've also got to work out is how I'm going to actually go about keeping it in place, because at the moment there are no lips on the inside for it to do so. So I may very well have to just peel maybe these plates off here and just stick it out by one stud, tile over the top of it, then it just rests in there. It is something I possibly should have thought about sooner. However, I've just been so preoccupied with getting all the other bits done, it just totally slipped my mind. But I could always just add another plate onto the bottom of here. It's not going to be too much hassle on there. I can't wait to get this floor all tiled out. I did order a load of dark bluish grey plates from a bricklug. However, that order's sort of like being processed at the moment, so I'm not sure when that's going to arrive. So I'm holding fire on doing that. There's so many of those tiles arriving. I don't really want to purchase something and then have loads of them left over in my inventory. But I still need to design the table that's got to go inside of there. So yeah, lots of exciting things to do in the near future. And it's just so satisfying just seeing lots of details in here that we did last time out. And the greebling along here again. It's just so satisfying seeing it. Time consuming, as I mentioned, but yeah, worth every second
doing so. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. And as I mentioned earlier, drop in the comments what colour you think would look better on the floor in Leia's stateroom, as I'll be quite interested to see what people think on that one. Anyway, thanks for popping on by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.